everybody and welcome back to the first ever video from Book Mining. I'm Jayant and welcome to the first ever book mining video, and today is going to be our first ever Agatha Christie book review. I'm going to be doing a lot of these in the future, so if you're looking out for some of that kind of content, you can definitely consider subscribing and turning on the post notifications so that you get notified every single time I upload. But other than that, let me tell you what book exactly am I going to be reviewing today. So, the book is called The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which is one of Agatha Christie's classic, you can say, Poirot cases. And today I'm going to be firstly taking you through all of the spicy characters of this book, as I call them, and the setting and a little bit of an overview of how the plot is set. And then I'm going to give this book a score out of 10, tell you some pros and cons of this if it has any, and finally wrap up this video with a recommendation on whether I recommend buying this or no. Yes, so to begin with, I'm going to tell you what exactly happens in the story, and I'll try to keep this video like non-spoiler as always. Okay, as I'll do in my future videos as well. Alright, so this story opens up in a small little village in which is called King Abbott's, and it's set in that typical kind of English countryside, you can say, and it's a very beautiful village. You can really feel that those fields, those barns, and those wooden houses in the typical English countryside. Now, the main house of this village is that of Roger Ackroyd. And Roger Ackroyd basically is that rich guy of this village over here, and he's very wealthy from all the businesses that he has started and earned from through all these years. Now he's quite old and is just having the time of his life. So along with Roger Ackroyd, in his house Fernley Park lives his niece Flora Ackroyd and the sister-in-law of Roger Ackroyd called Mrs. Ackroyd. Now there's also his stepson, whose name is Captain Ralph Peyton, I suppose, and he wants Flora Ackroyd to marry Ralph Peyton. Now, the house also has Miss Roger Ackroyd's secretary, Mr. Raymond, who is a very formalish kind of guy, just how secretaries are. I think most of the time when I think of secretaries, I think of formal. Okay, and then there's, I guess, Major Blunt. Yeah, there's Major Blunt, and I think he is Roger's friend or something, but he also is in the house. Okay. Now, being a rich guy, he's got a lot of staff as well in his house, which has the housemaid, the parlourmaid, and the housekeeper. I think that is head housekeeper, who is Miss Russell. There's also Ursula Bourne, who is the parlourmaid, I think. Okay, please just don't blame me if I get these terms quite wrong. But yeah, they're kind of house help over here. And then coming out. No, one more second. Yes, there's one very important character I almost missed, and that is Roger Ackroyd's a little suspicious but still, I think, very formal kind of butler. That is Parker. Okay, so this is all about Fernley Park and who's living there. Now, coming in out of Fernley Park, there is, of course, the legendary Hercule Poirot himself. He's living here in King Abbott's as he's retired, and is here at King Abbott's growing vegetable marrows. I think this is like a very early stage of him to retire, because this is the fourth book in Poirot series, so he's got a long way to go and no retirements until a bajillion books, I suppose. But yeah, that's the story. Okay, then there's Hercule's neighbor, which is Dr. Shepherd, and he's basically the narrator of the story and also a doctor by profession, as his name suggests. And he's basically just like the Captain Hastings of the story. He's stepping into Captain Hastings' shoes in the story, and I say so because through the mystery he's seen assisting Hercule a lot, and then he goes to the end of the mystery, the solution, along with Hercule, and Hercule is also getting that kind of feeling that he's actually replacing Captain Hastings over here in King Abbott's, yes. Now, another, I think this, the next and the final character that I'll mention right now is going to be the most spiciest and the most, I just love this character, and that is just Mr. Dr. Shepherd's sister, whose name is Caroline, and she is, let me just tell you, the village gossip. Okay, yeah, she's the village gossip. And she's literally that kind of girl who makes it her business to know other people's business. And she gets all of her, facts and what's exactly going on in the village. Like, Mrs. So and so's housekeeper was caught doing this and that. To only, like, without even stepping out of the household and just get this through all of her house elves, etc. She's definitely a very kind of funny character, and there's a lot of instances in this story where Caroline actually spices things up with her very vain and vague ways to extract information out of Hercule and get to know all about his family, because she prides herself rather a lot on knowing every single business of the people who are living in this village, and she surely does know that. Alright, I think that's a wrap up to the characters over here. There's no more characters in this story, I believe. Just a tidbit, of guest appearances of one or two people. Now, the story, as I said, opens in King Abbott, and Roger Ackroyd has got an affair kind of thing with another lady over here who has actually poisoned her ex-husband, and someone actually found out that she poisoned her ex-husband, who's not ex-husband, yeah, ex-husband you can say, because he's dead or whatever. And someone found out about this, and he's been blackmailing her ever since then. So finally, I think she commits suicide in the end, getting all that mental torture and everything due to all that blackmailing, and leaves a letter for Roger Ackroyd to read over here, so that he can actually see and punish the one who did so to her beloved Mrs. Ferrara, I guess is her name. Yeah. But before Roger can read that, he is found dead in his study, and the letter is missing. And this is where the plot is set, and I think it's done beautifully over here. And then there's of course the police, who is initially informed, but then Flora kind of loses interest, and I think I can't find the correct word. I think does not really want to rely on the police and loses confidence in the police until she appoints the one and only legendary Poirot for this case, and he starts with a bit of a typical classic detective procedure by going through the timeline and framing in stories about who was doing what and noting them down, assisted by, of course, Dr. Shepherd, and he is getting down to the bottom of the mystery. So this is basically how the plot is set, and now let's get on actually what I have to say about this mystery after I've heard it. So the very interesting part about this story is that every single character in this story has got something to hide, okay? And there's revelations of their secrets throughout the story, and it's just like amazing to read those things. So, and yeah, you really get to know a lot of their characters, and that actually adds to the depth of the mystery, because it just broadens the area of detective work that needs to be done by Hercule. Now, yeah, that's about what I want to say over here. Now, everybody's got everything to hide, and Hercule, in his very, very, English and domineering style, I call it, puts it forward to everybody. For example, a little instance from the story I'm going to narrate over here, which is that Hercule makes everybody sit around the table, and then he says, everybody in this house has got something to hide. And oh my gosh, that kind of sent us chill down my spine and gave me really those kind of goosebumps. So I absolutely adore Hercule for that kind of domineering feeling. I think he's like the perfect detective over here. Vain, smart, and just absolutely amazing in his speech. And definitely a true English gentleman, but too much vain, I guess. Yes. So there's a lot of things that are revealed of persons, and there are a lot of evidences found out, and there's a lot of relationships in the family that come out in the end, which I guess nobody knows other than of course who both are or three people are involved in it. The story's got a lot of suspicion jumps from one person to the other, and so on it keeps on going, but finally of course Hercule finds out who the murderer is, and the solution is what is the main part of the story, and really complements to it a lot. The solution is beautifully set over here, and everything, the storyline is just beautiful, it's flawless, and the solution is totally given based on facts by Hercule, and like as I told you in the story also, you can like you have facts that are pretty concrete, and there's nothing that is based on mere coincidences, or you can say suggestions, or stupid like judgments or anything, which are baseless over here. So you're really enjoying going through the story and trying to see and decide for yourself, like become the Hercule Poirot yourself for the story. And now coming back to the solution, I think it was very satisfactory, and I think a lot of people I saw a bit of the reviews of this book, and people said that, oh, I didn't like this and all that stuff because I guessed this pretty early. But of course you guessed this, Mr. or Mrs. You're smarter than Hercule Poirot. I see that. Alright, so a bit of sarcasm there. It's okay. Just a bit of fun. Please don't take that seriously. Okay, and then like actually the solution is beautiful, and I personally got a really that oh my god feeling when Hercule told in his very fashionable manner by gathering everybody over here, to see and saying all those lines. There's a murderer among us, and I have got to bottom to that. People like, oh my gosh, is he actually found out? So yeah, that's basically what's happening in the story, and it's time to wrap up the video, I guess. And I give this book a solid 9 out of 10. This one is an absolute killer over here. Beautiful book by Agatha Christie, and I highly, highly recommend getting this if you're a fan of crime, mystery, and fiction, and all that stuff. A beautiful one for Agatha Christie, definitely a top tier one from her.